Hello everyone! In this video, we will discuss your second major project for the course, which is the analysis project. Before viewing this video, please take a moment to read the project handout and rubric to familiarize yourself with the project expectations. This video will focus on expanding upon these details while highlighting the most important aspects of the project. Now let's begin. When looking at the handout, you'll see the first section here focuses on explaining the overall purpose of the project, which is to compose an analysis. I really like Lisa Eads' definition of an analysis shared here, which is that it explains analysis involves separating something into parts and determining how these parts function to create the whole. When you analyze, you examine a text, an object, or a body of data to understand how it is structured or organized and how to assess its effectiveness or validity. Essentially, you'll be dissecting a genre to reveal why and how it is effective. And when we think about it, when we're composing as writers and creating a genre, this is especially important, especially if you are writing something that you're unfamiliar with or writing a genre that you're unfamiliar with, as it allows you to understand the expectations of writing in that genre and for a specific situation prior to beginning your own composition. Ultimately, this increases your likelihood of fulfilling your purpose for writing. So this is why we're practicing analysis for this project. Now, let's look at the directions portion of the handout here. In this section, you'll learn more about the specific expectations for the project, including the topic expectations, length requirements, and content and organization strategies. Let's begin by discussing the project topic. For your analysis, you will discuss the effectiveness of a public service announcement, also known as a PSA. And the PSA needs to be related to your community theme from the previous project. Now, a PSA is an announcement made for the good of the public, often to inform, educate, or possibly persuade about a relevant issue. We're surrounded by PSAs every day. It's important to clarify that for this project, you are composing a written analysis of a PSA that you will locate. You are not creating a PSA. I'm going to say it one more time. You are composing a written analysis that dissects and looks closely at a public service announcement. You are not creating a public service announcement. Thus, you will locate a PSA related to your community theme and then analyze it piece by piece to determine why and how it fulfills its intended purpose. Within this module, the PSA genre is discussed at times to help you understand common conventions of the genre, so you can then analyze those conventions in your own analysis project. However, you'll primarily rely on the rhetorical analysis skills discussed within this module to compose your analysis. To get started finding and selecting a PSA, I provide a few suggestions on the handout, but you may always reach out to me for additional assistance. Now, after you select a PSA to discuss in your analysis, you'll begin composing your project. The project should be at least 1,200 words, double-spaced in an MLA format. It'll include an introduction, body, and conclusion, which are discussed on the handout. The introduction should demonstrate consideration for your audience. Be sure to include information to familiarize your audience with the PSA in the introduction. Most importantly, you will compose a thesis statement that effectively identifies the subject and main point of your analysis, which is discussed more in this module. The body of the analysis will be a majority of this project. You'll notice that on the handout, I list various elements that you may use to complete your analysis, which are these items here, such as purpose, audience, rhetorical appeals, message, language, design, and medium. While all of these are important elements to consider, when completing your analysis, please note that you should not discuss every element in your project. Instead, I'm asking you that you select the most compelling elements for your specific PSA. This will allow you to substantially develop and support your ideas in the analysis instead of briefly skimming points about every element. To do so, you'll need to discuss evidence from the PSA to fully support and explain the ideas in your analysis. You should also not compose the body of your analysis by simply creating a paragraph that responds to all the questions for an element and then moves on to a new paragraph that does the same for another element. Instead, you'll need to critically consider how you'll form unified main ideas in your paragraphs that gradually build your analysis. For example, the language and message of your PSA may complement each other. So you could form a unified paragraph discussing the impact of these elements together. Thus, take time to critically consider which elements you will discuss, as your analysis should clearly demonstrate why these are the important factors to consider. And then conclude your analysis with a clear and compelling conclusion. You will also need to include a formal works cited page that identifies every source you consulted for the project. At a minimum, this will include a citation for the PSA that you're discussing. It is possible that you may also need to cite resources that allowed you to build a robust analysis, such as some of the readings from our course, like Bell's article on common PSA conventions. I'd like to clarify, though, that there is not a specific source requirement for this project, nor do you need to cite or quote research in your analysis. Instead, we're beginning to practice our ethical and effective research skills by composing a proper works cited page for this project, and we'll build on these skills in the upcoming modules. These expectations are discussed more in the module, so I suggest closely reviewing this material, especially the works cited page lesson. And finally, please remember that while I'm always here and happy to help, you can reach out at any single point. Otherwise, I really look forward to reading your final project. Thank you so much.